There. Today, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the pinky. When you look at the fingers of your hand, and as I pointed out in another video, you don't have 5 fingers, you actually have 4 fingers and a thumb, because the thumb is hidden behind the neck and the 4 fingers come up on this side. So these are the ones we're considering. But when you consider these 4 guys, you'll notice that this pinky is the short guy. Okay, so he's the odd man out. These are almost not equal, but here's this little guy. And well, what do you do with him during say a chord progression when you're learning to play? Well, here's just a couple of things. What I'm going to do is run through a series of chords that you probably know and use. These are all basic chords, non-bar chords. We're not even considering bar chords today. That's another whole lesson. But we'll take a look at this pinky. So let's start with a chord that already uses the pinky, and that would be the G chord. Now, if you're wondering about this G, you might want to check out the lesson that I posted called A Case for the G chord. And what you will end up with is this, and I'm going to do a close-up of that, okay? It's this, this, and then this. And one of the reasons is that this gives you a straight wrist as compared to this G. It also includes the pinky, which we want to do because all of a sudden we're going to start to move the pinky. Now watch this. See if I can get this close enough for you to do. See, I just lifted it up. Now instead of this string, I'm going to go down to this string, second string. I lift it up again, I go to the third string. Now that might not sound like much when you do that, but then all of a sudden you got a bluesy sound just by walking it down. 3rd fret open, 3rd fret open, 3rd fret open while you're playing this. Now yes, you can do that with this G, but again the wrist is bent. But it's the pinky that we're interested in. So this pinky, it's a matter of, okay, well, what can you reach? When you have this chord down, what can you reach? And with this particular G chord, it moves to other chords better. So we're just going to say, okay, what's related to a G? Well, a C. Well, guess what? You can do the same exact 3 frets on the same 3 strings. 3 open, 3 open, 3 open. Just see that one? I'll show it again. And it goes. Now, I'm going to combine the two. And all of a sudden it's very bluesy. And all I did was use this pinky to walk down. Well, the thing is, you have to use the pinky when you play the C chord. So my question is, well, why not use the same pinky doing exactly the same thing when you play the G chord, which would mean this G. All kinds of different combinations that you can use. Okay, fine. Let's take a look at it like an E minor. Pretty basic chord. Now you could use this E minor if you want, but again your wrist is going to be bent. And that's because these 2 fingers are the strength of your hand, 2 and 3. Not 1 and 2, 2 and 3, the ones in the middle. This is now your middle finger. All right, we talked about that in the other video. All right, so if you say I'm going to play an E minor like this. Okay, here's this pinky again. And if you wanted to play Heart of Gold by Neil Young, you need that pinky up on the G. It's what he does. All right. So, you've got this, but you've also got that. I don't know if you can see that, but it is that note on the 5th string, that note on the 4th string, and the same 2nd fret there. Then you end up with a suspended chord, an E minor suspended 4th. So you got, or you could use those same 3 notes from the G and the C, depending on what sound you wanted. But you see, these are the notes that you can reach in another context. You might, if you were using an E minor against an A chord, you might want to add that note, the C sharp. And one once you've done 2 and 3 there, you could do that. So if you go 3, 2, open on the first string, and then 3, 2, open on the second string, you have a lot of melody going on within this chord that you didn't have before. Well, if you moved up to an A minor, guess what? Here's the pinky free again. And this really, nobody plays an A minor like this unless you're going to a bar chord like that, but don't, okay? Anyway, here's his A minor. Well, here's Mr. Pinky, free again. Now, this is awkward because that actually ends up making an A chord as compared to an A minor, so you might know how to use that note. Did you see all the melody that I'm getting out of this? When you play your D chord like this, and not like this, this leaves this finger free, but this, you get the suspended sound. And when you combine that with lifting off this finger, your second finger off the first string, you get all this melody going. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, so here's this pinky moving all over the place. Just take a look at the B7. Now, again, we've been using this note and this note against a lot of other chords. Let's try it with this. So he creates this suspended chord. It's actually a sharp 5, in case you were interested. It's a B7 sharp 5. And so you get a kind of, it's a motion that wants to be resolved into the chord, but it's an available note, and so you might as well take advantage of it. Well, okay, so if you then take, let's go back to the C chord, and you add this pinky on the D note, okay? Well, when you have a C chord and you add a D, if you just use a little bit of counting along with your alphabet, you're on a C chord, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. You could say, oh, well, it's C, D and add 2, or a C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, add 9. Now, you see add 9 in a lot of songs. Sometimes you see add 2s. Well, that's how you do it. Usually, when you add a note to a chord, it's going to be on the upper strings. These 3, not these 3. All right, generally speaking. That doesn't mean that's the way it always has to be. That just means that's the way it usually is. All right, so you've got this note. So that when you get to the G chord, instead of playing the G up here, you play the D down here, and then you drop it off. And then you move to the C chord and add that same D right away. Now what you end up with, see what I mean? And it's all because you've made the pinky available, or taken advantage of the fact that it's available. You can look at it either way. And so what I would say is experiment. Adding notes to chords has to do with what fingers are available and what can they reach. If you end up playing a note that you don't like the sound of, don't play it again. Brilliant, huh? I came up with that one myself. You're going to come up with that one yourself too. So for instance, if I play this G chord and I add that note, that's not going to sound very good no matter what I do. That just sounds like I made a mistake. Well, that's right, I did. That's a mistake. Don't do that again. But if I take that same note and move it up a fret, if I hit this here instead of here, that sounds pretty good. You hear that a lot. Now, all of a sudden I combine that with my pinky movement. I've got the G, I lift it up, go to the D, I go to the C, I lift it up, go to the A note on the 3rd string, and what I did was in the middle of the G chord. Neat trick, huh? And so again, it's a matter of what's available and what you can reach. Experiment with the pinky. Use different notes. Take any chord, change one of the notes, lift one of them away, put it back down, move it up a fret, move it up 2 frets, and see what happens. It's a good way to experiment and expand the possibilities of your chord. Okay? Have fun with it. Thanks for listening and keep playing.